Everton Walker, welcome to Profile.
Thank you for having me.
I'm particularly stoked to have you because of your many different kind of accomplishments. You have over 12 books, 13 at this count. You're a college lecturer. You are a farmer, a teacher as well, since you're a lecturer. Just a range of different kind of accomplishments. When you look back at where you have been and the journey here, how do you feel?
I'm elated. I'm elated because it has been a journey, you know, and when I look at now, it's almost surreal.
No, I've rattled off a list of different kinds of accomplishments for you, but at your core, you've said, particularly in one of you know those 13 books, The Boy from Amelie, that at your core, you're a boy from Amelie. Now, this is a community that not a lot of people know about, so let's start a little bit by talking about your journey, by talking a little bit about where that community is and what it was like growing up.
Okay, well, Amelie is in northeastern St. Catherine. It's a peaceful and quiet community where everyone knows, I could say everyone. You know, growing up there, we never had electricity, no paved roads, no running water. The internet was like a futuristic concept, to be honest with you. So we lived very close to nature. So it was more adventurous than anything else. You know, we were in the bush, you know, fetching water, wood for the kitchen, that kind of thing.
As a matter of fact, in your book, your autobiography, Boy from Amelie, you point that out. You said that, you know, there was no time available to wait on the normal growth pattern, that you had to grow up very, very quickly, which meant that you were doing what kinds of things?
Okay. Growing up, what I realized is that nothing could stop you from moving forward, and you never had a choice. For example, I mentioned earlier that we never had paved roads, and that meant that we used to have something called bokto. You know, it means that you could just be walking and you just lick out your toenail, just like that. Also, you could just maybe step on a piece of maybe broken bottle glass or something, and your soul would actually be pierced. With all that injury, don't believe that you're going to maybe stay in bed and anybody's going to pamper and cushion. No. You still have to go to school, you still have to go to spring, you still have to go to Woodbush, church, just to see him. So, you know, it showed me that it doesn't matter what is happening. You know, I still need to move. That was what I actually got early. That nothing should actually, you know, allow you to just sit around, you're waiting on someone to come and babysit your emotions and that kind of your pain. No.
At the same time, you had no comparison point, though, because you didn't understand or know of the world outside of this.
That is it, because, you know, living in Amelie, you know, I wasn't exposed. So that's a world I actually knew. And as a result, not having anything to compare with, sometimes you're not even sure what's happening. And that is why I never actually complained. Because sometimes in terms of complaining, you need to have a reference point to complain. And I never had a reference point. So I just lived with the realities, because one thing that I have learned, you cannot lie about reality, because it is what it is.
No, that reality also involved a lot of siblings at the same time.
Yes.
You said you had 6 siblings, or 5 siblings, alive.
No, 9 alive.
9 alive?
Yes.
9 siblings alive?
Yes. So, you know, you talked about a lot of mouths to feed, right? A lot of space, for example, to sleep. And I always say to people that, guess what? Sleeping was actually a concept for me, and not a right.
What do you mean by a concept?
You know, because even when my eyes were actually closed, I was awake. Because my bed was actually under the bed. My bed was just a bag with old clothes.
Yes.
Packed in it. So when I'm actually through, I'll just push it under the regular bed. You know, so I realized that, you know, it's okay to sleep, but we need to stay awake. Because sometimes when I got up, what I realized, I wasn't even on the old cloth. They actually just slid all over the place, and I was actually on the floor.
Because this is a really small house, by the way.
No, but the space, in terms of where we actually occupied,
Yes.
it was actually small.
Smaller than the house, you mean?
Yes. You know, so I was actually at the lowest point in the house. I was on the floor. You know, and what I realized that when you stay focused, if you're at your lowest point, you can only rise.
Why were circumstances so difficult?
You know, in terms of my dad, he's kind of like a mailman or postman. He used to carry mail. My mom, she used to plant what we call straw and sell to a lady named beside us, you know, and she would maybe take it to Ocharios, you know, to sell to the craft vendors. So in terms of money, that was limited. So we had to live just off nature in that case. So a lot of things were actually a total no-no. Once money was involved, if you're actually sick, you know, they would actually watch it to see if you're going to get better. Because you couldn't go to the doctor and say, doctor, I'm going to trust a visit, and credit a visit. No.
No, this had implications in terms of, you know, how you performed in school.
Yes, indeed. Because, you know, sometimes we look at kids, and because they will not say anything, you know, we think that they're not going through stuff. But we need to learn how to read silence.
What were you going through?
You know, I was going through a lot because, first of all, I couldn't get to go to school the way I really wanted to go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not a good week. Friday was a no-no. It's as if the weekend actually, you know, started on Friday. And as a result, I was actually missing out.
Why was Friday a no-no?
That's where the money could stretch.
Yeah.
When we reach Wednesday, pop. That's the reality. You know, so I was missing out, and I knew I had the potential. And when you imprison your potential, it hurts.
Did you understand, at the same time you're saying you didn't really understand this as a child, you're reflecting on it now as someone much older. When you started to go to school and started to see other children understand their circumstances, did you feel differently? Did you understand yourself to be different then?
Not until the actual common entrance era. Because what I noticed during that time, you know, we shared the same kind of things. You know, when you actually wearing shoes, you looked weird. Yeah. You know, so when we actually run around without shoes.
You were just like every other.
That is it.
Everyone else.
Yeah, so everybody actually fitted in at that time. You know, but, you know, as I got older, I realized that, listen, man, life is really serious. And it was a kind of seriousness where, you know, life, it doesn't look at your age and stage. It's going to come out at you whether you're 5 or 95. That's what I picked up. I realized that my pain was actually my pain. And no one could feel it. Because it doesn't matter how you love someone and that person is actually going through a lot. You know, you can only play your role, but you will never be able to feel that person's pain.
I want to go back to this idea of common entrance and what happened to you in that case. And not just common entrance, but the grade 9 achievement test. But we need to go to a break on Profile. We're speaking with author, teacher, motivational speaker, Everton Walker. Profile returns right after these messages.